Hey everyone, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are. I wanted to welcome you to my channel, to my videos, to wherever you're listening to me. I'm so grateful again that you are watching and you're listening, hopefully learning as well. If you guys are interested, you can join my team at patreon.com/boomshikha. That's patreon.com/my name, boomshikha. In this video, we'll be speaking about happiness. Isn't that like a really crazy topic? It's a really important topic, but I feel like most people don't actually consider what happiness means to them or if they are happy. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. Yesterday, I was at dinner, I was at dinner with a friend, and I asked him the question, I always ask, I ask this question to everyone that I meet because I want to know if they're actually thinking about this, because I think it's one of the most important questions you can ask yourself on a daily basis, right? One of the most important questions, because there's many. And I asked him, are you happy? And that's why I love hanging out with this person, because he's so brilliant. And he answered my question with a question. He says, how do you know? How do you know if you're happy? And it blew my mind instantaneously. I'm like, whoa, right? Like, how do you know if you're happy? And so in that moment, I kind of like, searched through my own happiness, because I am happy. I know I'm happy. How do I know it? I don't know how I know, right? And then I realized I know that I'm happy because I have a comparison point for it, because I have been unhappy in my life, and now I am happy, and so I can compare the two and see happy, unhappy, happy, unhappy, unhappy, right? Kind of thing. So I think that's what I said to him, and he said, you know what, that actually makes sense. I think that's how I'd measure it as well, and I am happy now because I've been unhappy, and I know what it's like to be unhappy, and I'm not unhappy right now, right? And so the comparison really helps. And so when a lot of people are like, I never want to be unhappy again, I never want any strife, I don't want anything bad ever to happen to me, I want everything to just be roses all the time, I think that's a really wrong way of looking at things. I'm not saying that things shouldn't be roses all the time, but how will you know that you're happy? How will you know that things are going really well if you're not able to experience the other side of the coin? How are we supposed to know? It's actually impossible to know. If a person is happy all the time or has no conception of unhappiness, how will they know that they're happy? They'll just be steady, right? They'll just be something. They'll just be in a certain state. But they're not going to know if it's happiness or unhappiness unless they've experienced both sides of the spectrum. Doesn't mean, I'm not saying that, you should go out and experience unhappiness right now, because I think that's just a normal part of life. No matter what we do, we're going to experience unhappiness and happiness. We're going through cycles. Everyone goes through it, just normal. So, you go through peaks where everything is perfect, and you're in the summer of your life, everything's awesome, you're in love, and everything's endorphin rush, and everything's fine, right? And then you go through your valleys where you feel like you're in one of those places where you're never going to get out of it, and everything feels really terrible and hard, and your self-esteem is destroyed, and your relationships are destroyed, and your finances are destroyed, and you're like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Right? But we need to go through those valleys in order to get back up to the peaks and realize that we're at a peak, right? We're not going to realize that otherwise, guys. We're not going to realize it. We need both sides of the spectrum. You cannot know the darkness without the light, and you cannot know the light without the darkness either. We need the dark and the light. We need it in order to understand where we are in the spectrum. Right? And that's the story that I kind of wanted to share with you, is that I went through that valley myself, and that's where I kind of started my transformation journey. And that person that I was at that point in time 3 years ago, she was not the person I wanted to be. And she was dealing with a lot of stuff. She lost her job. She lost her partner. She lost her drive. She lost her motivation. She lost her health. She lost a lot of different things, yeah? And in that moment, when she was in the deepest of valleys, and she was sitting there, I was sitting there, and she's looking at her life, and she's thinking to herself, no, this is it. This is it. This is it. I am not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to be this person anymore. I cannot live like this where everything is falling apart and I'm just sitting around eating my face off or shopping with money that I don't have, spending money on my credit cards, things like that, right? I cannot be this person anymore. And I said this to myself, and I started that day with a morning routine. I started meditating and making my bed. Very simple. 5-minute meditation, not a big deal, and started making my bed. And in that transformation, in that journey, I've come here where I'm living my ideal life and not in a valley anymore, yeah? When you go through a lot of these peaks and valleys, you actually realize, and especially if you meditate and you notice that observer, that witness inside of you, and I'll speak a little bit more about that in the future, but when you meditate, you notice that there is this essence, this part of you that is observing everything and is untouched by everything. And so the more you meditate, the more you realize that the peaks and valleys are going to come. Like clouds, they're going to flow past you all the time. It doesn't mean that they're going to hide the sunshine that's always there behind the clouds. You're going to be aware of it, that yes, I'm going through a valley right now. Totally fine. The sunshine is still behind the clouds and it's going to come back up. And I know it's going to come back up because that's life. That's the peak and the valley of it. So you don't actually get really enamored by it. You don't really get strung by it. You know, you're not thinking to yourself, oh my God, this is the end. My life is ruined. I'm going to never do anything good again. My life is never going to come back up again. You're not going to go into that mode because you know, yeah, it's going to come back up again because this is just a valley. And I'm going through a valley right now and it's a little bit hard for sure. But guess what? It's going to teach me the gorgeousness of the peak when I reach it. The happiness that I'm going to experience once I go past this valley. Because everyone, guys, everyone goes past the valley. And I think a lot of people believe that they're going to be in the valley forever, but that's not the truth. It's not the truth. We go through peaks and valleys. We're not always going to be in a peak. We're not always going to be in a valley. We're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's normal. That's normal. That's how things work. Yeah. And so I really wanted to kind of share this with you guys because way too many people are asking me this question over and over again. You know, how are you happy? How can you stay happy when this world is falling apart? How can you believe that there's hope on this planet when everything seems hopeless? And I remember to myself that this is the reason I'm here right now. It's because I went through that valley. If I hadn't gone through that strife area or period in my life where I lost everything, I wouldn't be here, guys. I would still be at a job that I didn't like, that I would be, you know, working at because I was making loads of money at it. I'd be doing things I don't like, hanging out with people I don't really like, but that's okay, you know, that's life. And I'd be with someone who didn't really love me that much, and we'd be together because, you know, it's comfortable. No, I don't want that. I'm so grateful that I went through that valley. I wanted to go through that valley because now I'm here. And perhaps I'll go through another valley again, but because I know my witness is watching and she is untouched by all of this nonsense, I know that it's just the clouds hiding the sun temporarily. Temporarily, guys. Happens for a temporary moment. In our 70, 80 years of life or whatever it might be, these peaks and valleys are going to come several times. But if we can just stand back and realize, okay, this is just a valley. It's just temporary. I just have to get through this and I have to learn from it. Then we can go back up to the peak and really enjoy it. Really be in that happiness state and be like, yeah, I made it. I made it to the peak. And this is great. And let me enjoy this for right now because the valley is coming, guys. The valley is coming. It's up and down. It's up and down. And that's life. That is life, guys. That is life. It doesn't mean anything bad. It does not mean anything bad. It doesn't mean that you have to kind of prevent the valley from coming. No, don't do that. Actually, go lean into the valley. When it comes, when hard times come, just relax and like go through it, you know? Because what the universe is trying to do is trying to teach you. It's trying to teach you some lesson that you can only learn in the valley, right? So you go through the valley, you learn that lesson, you learn something awesome about yourself and about your journey and where you are on this path, and then you go back up to the peak once you've learned that lesson. That's totally fine. It might last for a month, it might last for a week, it might last for a few hours, it might last for years. Who knows? But you know, because it's the cycle of life, that the valley is going to be followed by the peak. I hope this makes sense to you guys. I hope that you guys found this interesting and useful. And if you guys have any comments at all, please let me know. And again, go join my team on patreon.com/boomshikha if you're interested, yeah? I'll talk to you guys the next time around. Bye for now.